Hello, in this particular lecture we are going to discuss about the phase diagram, that means determination of the different phases from the phase diagram itself of various materials. So, first let us know that why we are going to study about the phase diagram. So, generally the many material systems and alloy systems exist in more than one phases, which depends upon so many parameters. What are those? First is called the conditions of the temperature, and then pressure, and the third one is the compositions. So, first is that temperature, then pressure and the compositions. So, each phases will have different microstructure which is related to the mechanical properties. Yes, later we will see that one materials can stay into different phases. Development of microstructure is related to the characteristics of the phase diagram, and the proper knowledge and understanding of phase diagram will lead to design and control of heating procedures for developing required microstructure and the properties. Sometimes it may happen that we are heating that materials, or maybe we are cooling down the material so rapidly, or maybe step by step, so that we can get the different material characteristics at different temperature zone, or maybe same material at different conditions will show us the different properties. So, what is phase diagram? So, generally phase, as we know, it may be solid, it may be liquid, or maybe it may be the gas. So, it is a homogeneous portions of system, physically distinct and mechanically separable. Phase have a definitive or maybe definite boundary surface, so recognizable and separable. Different phases are given different names or symbols like alpha, beta, gamma, etc. So, what is phase diagram? Graphical representations of the various phases present in the material systems at various temperature and composition point. It is also called as equilibrium diagram. It has pressure on the y axis, so you can see from this, and the temperature into the x axis. Crossing the lines or curves on phase diagram, a phase change occur. So, in this side you can see this is solid zone, then if you cross these lines the liquid zone is coming, and then again if you cross this boundary the gas zone is coming. So, this is the generally the triple point where the three different phases of that particular materials is exist, and if we want to get the conditions of this point, so simple, we can get the temperature and we can get the pressure. So, at what pressure and what temperature the water or maybe that H2O will exist into three different phases together. So, what is the significance of the phase diagram? So, first is that to show the various phase present at different compositions and temperature. Second, to indicate the equilibrium solid solubility of one element in other. Third, to indicate temperature range over which solidification or liquidification of material systems occur. Fourth, to indicate the temperature at which different phases start to melt. Fifth, amount of each phases in two phase mixture can be obtained. Sixth, useful in understanding the properties of materials in a heterogeneous systems. And the seventh, provides the valuable information about melting, casting and the crystallization. So, before going to start deeply into this particular lecture, just let us know some basic terminology which generally we are using for phase diagram. So, first one is called the systems. So, systems means substance that are isolated and unaffected by their surroundings. So, here in this is the systems. It may contain solids, liquids, or maybe the gases, or maybe their combinations. It may have metals, non-metals separately or in combined form. It is capable of changing its compositions, temperature, pressure, density and so on. What is component? Pure metals or compounds of which an alloy is composed. Example, in copper zinc brass the components are copper and zinc. Independent chemical species and components of a system may be elements, ions or compounds. It can exist in many phases, like water exists as ice, liquid water and the water vapor, we know all. Carbon exists as graphite and the diamond. Then system variables, parameters like compositions in terms of components, temperature T and the pressure P. Next, equilibrium, state of minimum free energy under any specified combinations of overall compositions, temperature, pressure and overall volume. Once equilibrium is achieved, minor change in composition, temperature, pressure, volume within the system means an increase in the free energy. What is degree of freedom? It is also known as variance of system. It is the number of external or internal factors of system like temperature, pressure and concentration that can be independently changed without altering the equilibrium. Then next one is called the solubility limit, maximum concentration of solute atoms that may dissolve in solvent to for a solid solution. Say suppose in water I am adding the sugar. So, here the sugar is the solute and the rest of the water is known as the solutions. So, here if I am adding the sugar and sugar and sugar into the water, after certain time the sugar will not dissolve into the water itself. So, that is known as the solubility limit. So, generally the solubility limit is sugar in water. And what is microstructure? Characterized by number of phases, proportions and manner of distribution of the phases itself, depends on alloying elements, concentrations, heat treatment, may be temperature or maybe the heating cooling rate. So, in this case we are making the syrup which is liquids, as I was giving the examples of the sugar in water. So, liquid solution syrup. So, this is the solubility limit or maybe the solubility line. So, after that again if we add the sugar, so what will happen? Liquid solutions and solid sugar precipitations will be taking place inside the system. Now, from where this phase actually has come, who is the inventor of that? So, that is why it is called the Gibbs phase rule, because it is given by Josiah Willard Gibbs in 1870, predicts the number of phases that will coexist within a system at equilibrium. It is a relationship between the number of variables f, number of elements c, the number of phases p, as number of phases can be determined as p plus f is equal to c plus n. Generally gas or gaseous mixtures is single phase, liquid is 1, 2 or maybe the 3 phases possible. To totally miscible liquids it is single phase, a slurry of ice and water is 2 phases. What is solid? A crystal in a single phase, an alloy of 2 metals in 2 phases if it is immiscible and 1 phase if it is properly miscible. One use of the Gibbs phase rule is in analyzing non-equilibrium conditions. What is the example? The example is a microstructure for a binary alloy is developed over a range of temperatures, consists of 3 phases in a non-equilibrium. Under these circumstances these 3 phases will exist only at single temperature. So, now we are trying to give the Gibbs phase rule example for copper silver systems. So, in this particular case you can see that the compositions of the weight percent of silver, it is increasing into these directions. Here the silver percentage is 0, then 20, 40, 60, 80 and the 100, and the opposite is for the copper. In this particular case the copper is 100, then 80, then 60, then 40, then 20 and then 0. So, copper is increasing into these directions. So, in this particular case what is the number of phases? Consider the case of single phase fields as alpha, beta and the liquid region, only one phase is present, that is why P is equal to 1. So, in this case alpha it is only a single phase, liquid is one single phase and the beta is only single phase. But in this particular case you can see that alpha plus L or maybe the beta plus L or maybe the alpha plus beta. So, there are 2 phases exist. So, that is why it is P is equal to 2. For binary systems when 3 phases are present, that time P is equal to 3. So, the number of components is 2, that is copper and silver. Since pressure is constant over here, that is 1 atmospheric, parameter N is 1, when temperature is only non-compositional parameter. So, from the Gibbs rule, first case if we consider the A, so for A P plus F is equal to C plus N, in this case P is equal to 1, C is equal to 2 and N is equal to 1. So, here the F is equal to 2. So, In this particular case the F value is 2, in this particular case F value is 1, and in this particular case the F is equal to 0. And what is F? The F is the number of variables. So, now what is the advantages? So, generally applicable to the macroscopic system, predicts the behavior of system with changes in intensive variables, applicable to both chemical and physical equilibria, simple method of classified equilibrium stages of matter. But of course, there is certain limitations. What are those? Applicable only for systems which are in equilibrium, it is not possible for the non-equilibrium system. Considers only number of phases rather than amounts, it will tell you the number of phases, but what amounts it is difficult. Under same conditions of temperature and pressure, all phases of system must be present. Now, if we see the classifications of the phase diagram, so generally it is divided into 3 parts. One is called the unary phase diagram, or may be known as the one component systems, binary phase diagrams also known as the 2 component systems, ternary phase diagram which is known as the 3 component system. So, what is unary phase diagrams? Also known as pressure temperature or maybe the PT diagram. Simplest phase diagram which is one component system. Example, water H2O have regions for 3 different phases, solid, liquid and vapor. 2 phases exist along each of the 3 phases boundaries. So, I will give you the example. So, in this particular case we are having that pressure into the y axis and temperature into the x axis. So, in this particular case this is the gas phase, this is the liquid phase and this is the solid phase. So, now what is the critical point? So, critical point at which substance is indistinguishable between liquid and the gaseous state. So, in this particular point you cannot distinguish that the material is into the liquid phase or maybe the gas phase, that is known as the critical point. And what is triple point? Point where all 3 phases, already I told in this particular point that solid, liquid and gas 3 phases are present at that particular point. At low pressure and temperature, also called as invariant point, also called as invariant point. So, in this particular case if we move from solid to liquid, that is known as the melting, if we move from liquid to solid, that is known as the freezing, and then if we move from liquid to gas, it is known as the vaporizations, and if we move from gas to liquid, it is known as the condensations, and if we move from solid to gas, that is known as the sublimations, and if we directly move from gas to solid, that is known as the depositions. So, now unary phase diagrams for metal, say suppose we are trying to give an example of pure iron. So, formations of different phases are functions of temperature and pressure, already I told. At atmospheric pressure 3 allotropic forms of iron exist, that is known as the alpha iron, gamma iron which is known as the austenite, another one is called the delta iron. At very high pressure a 4th form exists called epsilon iron or maybe the hexaferrum. What is delta iron? As molten iron cools down, it solidifies at 1539 degree centigrade into its delta allotrope which has BCC crystal structure. Delta iron can dissolve as much as 0.09% of carbon by mass at 1493 degree centigrade. What is gamma iron or maybe the austenite or maybe the gamma Fe? As iron cools further to 1394 degree centigrade, its crystal structure changes to FCC crystalline structure. In this form it is called the gamma iron or maybe the austenite. And what is alpha iron or maybe alpha Fe? Below 910 degree centigrade, iron again adopts the BCC structure characteristics of alpha iron, also called the ferrite. The substance assumes a paramagnetic in property. Carbon dissolves poorly in alpha iron no more than 0.021% by mass at 723 degree centigrade. So, you see one single material at different temperature, just changing the temperature or maybe the pressure, it is behaving like different materials. What is epsilon iron or maybe the hexaferrum? At pressure above approximately 130 kilobar, at high pressure only it can exist, and temperatures of a few hundred Kelvin or less, because temperature is also not too high, alpha iron changes into a HCP structure which is known as epsilon iron or maybe the hexaferrum. High temperature gamma phase also changes into epsilon iron, but does so at a higher pressure. So, this is the phase diagram of the pure iron, and this is the cooling curve of the pure iron. At 1539 degree centigrade it is liquid in stage. When we are coming it down the temperature around 1394 degree centigrade, it is delta iron having the BCC structure. Again when we are reducing the temperature, it is forming the gamma iron FCC structure, and it is non-magnetic in nature. And then when we are reducing the temperature from 910 degree centigrade to 723 degree centigrade, it is showing the alpha iron BCC structure, and then if it is below 723 degree centigrade, it is alpha iron BCC, but it is magnetic in nature. So, you see only a single material at higher temperature it was non-magnetic, when we are reducing the temperature it is became the magnetic one. Also the crystal structure from BCC to FCC, then again BCC, it is changing with time and temperature. Then what is binary phase diagram? There are two component system used in alloy designing. Pressure is constant and independently variable parameters are temperature and compositions. Two components can be two metals, either maybe copper and nickel, it is just for an example, metal and a compound like iron and Fe3C, or maybe two compounds Al2O3 and Si2O3. So, these all are the examples. So, classification of two component system based on extent of mutual solid solubility. One is completely soluble in both liquid and the solid phases, that is known as the isomorphous systems. So, for isomorphous systems, example like copper nickel, then silver and gold, then germanium silicon, Al2O3 and the Cr2O3. And another one is completely soluble in liquid phase, whereas the solubility is limited in solid state. So, extent of solid solubility in two element system can be predicted based on Hume-Rothery conditions. So, that is one conditions, it should satisfy that conditions. If system obeys these conditions, then complete solid solubility can be expected. What is Hume-Rothery conditions? Generally the crystal structure of each element of solid solutions must be the same. Size of atoms of each two elements must not differ by more than 15%. Elements should not form compounds with each other. There should be no appreciable difference in the electronegativities of the two elements, and last element should have the same valence. Now, we are going to discuss about the binary isomorphous system. So, isomorphous systems, complete solid solubility of the two components both in liquid and the solid phases. Three phases region can be identified on the phase diagram. It is called the liquid, solid plus liquid, that is alpha plus L, and the solid, that is alpha. So, in this particular case there are two materials like A and B. The melting temperature of A is here and the melting temperature of B is here, that is higher than the A. So, in this particular case the weight percent of B is increasing. So, in this case B point is 100% of B and A point is 100% of A. So, now after mixing, if we heat the materials, so that is known as the liquidus and this is known as the solidus. So, at the time of heating this curve will generate and at the time of cooling this curve will generate. So, this is the liquidus phase L, this is the solidus phase alpha, and this is the combinations of the solid plus liquid, which is nothing but the alpha plus L. Liquidus line separates the liquid from liquid plus solid. At temperature just below this line, crystals of alpha solid solution start forming, and solidus line separates the solid from liquid plus solid. Only alpha solid solutions exist at any temperature below the solidus line. Example of binary systems like copper nickel, which exhibits the complete solubility in liquid and the solid state. Say suppose copper, the melting temperature is 1085 degree centigrade, for nickel it is 1455 degree centigrade. When we are heating the materials, it is following this path, and at the cooling it is following this path. So, this is the liquid of these both the materials, this is the solid solutions of that particular materials, and this is the zone where the solid plus liquid phase are exist. Now, what are the interpretations we can do from the phase diagram itself? From binary phase diagrams we can determine phases that are present, the composition of phases and the percentage and fraction of the phases. How? If we know the temperature and C0, then we can identify which phases are present over there. So, here we are giving the examples. Say suppose from the copper nickel phase diagram, if you remember the last one. So, suppose we are going to calculate this point or maybe this point. So, this point means it is around 1100 degree centigrade, and what is the percentage of the nickel? That is 60% of the nickel. So, one phase, that is alpha, and B this point. So, what is that? This is the 1250 degree centigrade over here, and then it is the 35% of the nickel itself. So, here two phases are present because it is coming into the L plus alpha region. So, two phases are present, that is L plus alpha. Now, what is tie line? Say for determinations of phase compositions. So, now compositions of the individual phases in two phase region can be found using a horizontal line called a tie line. So, suppose I am making a tie line in between the solidus line and the liquidus line. So, it is drawn and it intercepts on liquidus and solidus lines like WL and WS are taken as compositions of the liquid and solid. So, through this simple we can get the compositions of WL and we can get the compositions of the WS itself, and this XY line is known as the tie line. Now, come to the lever rule for determinations of the phase amounts. How we can calculate that, how much percentage of the phases are present inside the systems. Gives the weight percent of phases in any two phase regions, weight fraction of solid phase, that is XS is equal to, because say suppose I made the tie line in between the L and S. So, this point and this point, and I am putting the tie line over here. Now, I want to know the compositions of point O. So, L is known as the WL, it is coming from here, and it is WS, it is also coming from here. Now, I want to know the point O, suppose it is XX and XL. So, what is the weight fraction of solid phase? XX is equal to W0 minus WL by WS minus WL, and what is the XL? That is XL is equal to WS minus W0 by WS minus WL. So, where W0 is the weight percentage of alloy, WS is weight percentage within the solid phase, WL is the weight percentage into the liquid phase itself. So, by this way we can easily calculate the weight fraction of solid phase or maybe the liquid phase. Now, development of microstructure in isomorphous alloy. Say suppose I am giving the example of copper nickel alloy once again. So, in the equilibrium cooling, very slow cooling, two alloy phase equilibrium to be maintained during the cooling process. Very slow cooling give rise to coat structure as compositions of the melt continuously change. So, in this particular case, so this is the compositions weight percent of the nickel and this is the temperature. So, in this particular case, now we are going to know the characteristics of this line at different point. Say suppose when we are talking about the 1260 degree, more than 1260 degree centigrade, that means point A. So, it starts as homogeneous liquid solutions over there. So, it has been mentioned that L liquid with 35% of nickel. Now, when T is more or less 1260 degree centigrade. So, in this particular case liquidus line reached alpha phase begins to nucleate. So, C alpha 46 weight percent of nickel and Cl 35 weight percent of the nickel itself. So, this is the point. So, it is talking about the B point. So, this is A point, this is B point, and then T is equal to 1250 degree centigrade. So, that is the point C. So, calculate compositions and mass fractions of each phases. When we are talking about the D point, so D means T more or less 1220 degree centigrade, solidus line reached nearly complete solidifications. So, C alpha is equal to 23 weight percent of the nickel and Cl is equal to 24 weight percent of the nickel itself, and T, that means the point E. So, E is equal to less than is equal to 1220 degree centigrade, homogeneous solid solution with 35 weight percent of nickel it is taking place. Till now we are discussing about the equilibrium cooling. Now we are going to discuss about the non-equilibrium cooling. So, generally the rapid cooling delays solidification, but also leads to cold structures. Cold microstructures means interior is rich in high melting component, here in this particular case exterior is rich in low melting component. So, the temperature is going from low to high. So, development of microstructure during the non-equilibrium solidification of a 35 weight percent of nickel and 65 weight percent of copper alloy outcome. So, in this particular case you can see that inside is alpha 46% nickel, then so initially 46% nickel, then top of that 40% nickel, then top of that 35% nickel, and the outside is 31% nickel. So, this is for the non-equilibrium of cooling. So, it is having different temperature zone. So, we can see the segregations, that means non-uniform distribution of elements within grains and weaker grain boundary if alloy is reheated several times. What is the mechanical properties of the isomorphous alloys? For copper nickel system, effect of solid solution strengthening on tensile strength and the ductility, that means percentage elongations. Increase in strength and hardness by addition of other component and curves passes the maximum. So, in this particular case the tensile strength is increasing up to 68 percent of the nickel, and then after that it is decreasing for 100% nickel. Ductility decreases with addition of second component and curve exhibits a minimum. A solid solution exists over all composition for these systems. So, in this case also the elongation at break at 0% nickel was the maximum, then after that it is drastically reducing at 60%, and then slowly again it is increasing at 100% nickel. Now, we are going to discuss about the binary eutectic systems. So, for eutectic systems, generally eutectic reactions generates two solids from the liquid at a given temperature and compositions. So, from liquid generally two solid formations is taking place, that is L is equal to alpha plus beta. Eutectic system always has a specific alloy as eutectic compositions. It freezes at lower temperature than other compositions. At eutectic temperature, two solids form simultaneously from a single liquid phase. Eutectic temperature and composition determine a point on phase diagram as eutectic point. So, this is known as the eutectic point. So, in this particular case from liquid generally two solid formations alpha plus beta is taking place directly, and this is known as the eutectic isotherm. So, that is the constant temperature range over there. So, there are phases like alpha, then beta, then liquid phase, then alpha plus beta and L plus alpha and L plus beta. So, general rules, the melting point of eutectic alloy is lower than that of the components, that means eutectic is equal to easy to melt in Greek, that is the meaning of the eutectic. At most two phases can be in equilibrium within a phase field. Three phases like L, alpha and beta may be in equilibrium only at a few points along the eutectic isotherm. Single phase regions are separated by two phase regions. If it is three phase reactions, so in that case eutectic L is equal to alpha plus beta. So, in the last slides if you remember, L is equal to alpha plus beta. So, that is the short formations, here is the alpha, here is the beta, and L it is changing into the alpha plus beta. If it is peritectic, then alpha plus L it is coming to the beta. If it is monotectic, then L1 is equal to L2 plus alpha. For eutectoid, that is gamma goes to alpha plus beta. So, gamma goes to alpha plus beta. If it is peritectoid, then alpha plus beta goes to gamma. So, alpha plus beta it is going to gamma. Now, we are discussing about the binary eutectic phase diagram. So, it is comprised of 3 single phase regions, say alpha solid solutions of silver in copper matrix. Now, we are going to give the example of the copper and silver. So, beta solid solution of copper in the Ag matrix and the L is the liquid. So, this is the L, this is the alpha, which is nothing but the solid solution of Ag in copper matrix. It is the solid solution of copper in the Ag matrix. So, it is the composition weight percent of the Ag. So, 3 2 phase regions like alpha plus L, beta plus L and the alpha plus beta are present over here. Eutectic reaction for copper Ag like L to alpha plus beta. So, generally 71.9 weight percent of Ag. If we do the cooling or heating, means both way that can be possible. So, alpha is equal to 8 weight percent of the Ag. So, in this particular case, in this particular point, and beta is 91.2 weight percent of the Ag are present. So, Solvas line separates one solid solutions from a mixture of solid solutions. So, this is known as the Solvas line. So, Solvas line shows the limit of solubility. Eutectic or invariant point, liquid and 2 solid phases coexist in equilibrium at eutectic composition Ce and the eutectic temperature Te. So, this is the Ce is taking place in this particular point and this is the T, that is 779 degree centigrade. Eutectic isotherm, the horizontal solidus line at Te. So, that is known as the this one. So, this is known as the eutectic isotherm. Now, we are going to discuss about the eutectoid and peritectic reactions for the copper and zinc systems. So, this is the copper and zinc, both are having different melting temperature. So, in the eutectoid reactions, one solid phase delta transform into 2 other solid phases, that is gamma and epsilon upon cooling as. So, delta cooling or maybe the heating, it will form the gamma plus epsilon. So, reserve reactions occurs upon heating, it is called the eutectoid reactions and invariant point E is eutectoid. So, in this particular case, this is the eutectoid point. So, in this case what happened, this delta is changing into the gamma plus epsilon. Horizontal tie line at 560 degree centigrade is the eutectoid isotherm. So, this is the eutectoid isotherm. Eutectoid reactions is also found in iron carbon diagrams. And when you are talking about the peritectic reactions, liquid and one solid phase transforms into second solid phase upon heating as delta plus L, cooling or heating, it is changing into the epsilon. So, in this case what happened? So, if you see this particular point, so what is happened? Delta plus L region is changing to the epsilon. So, this is the case. So, from here to here, or maybe gamma plus L is changing into this delta. Peritectic exists the copper zinc system at point P, that is 598 degree centigrade and 78.6% zinc, 21.4% weight percent of the copper. One of the later peritectics exist at about 97 weight percent zinc at 435 degree centigrade, where in eta phase when heated transforms to epsilon and liquid phases. 3 other peritectics found in copper zinc systems, reactions which involves beta, delta, gamma intermediate solid solutions at low temperature. So, in this case eutectoid reactions at 560 degree centigrade with 74 weight percent of zinc, peritectic reactions at around 598 degree centigrade with having 78.6 weight percent zinc and 98 degree centigrade. So, this is the zone, it is 698 degree centigrade. So, 74 weight percent of the zinc. Now, we are going to discuss about the last one, that is called the ternary phase diagram. So, this is basically for the 3 component system. So, and constructed using a equilateral triangle as a base. So, ternary compositions are within the triangle. Composition lines on the triangle is constructed from projections of surfaces. Pure components at each end of triangle. Binary alloy compositions represented on edges. So, in this particular case you can see that is pure A, that is pure B and the pure C, and this is the equilateral triangle. Okay. Temperature varies along with this A line, this line temperature is varies. Height of prism and composition triangle is an isothermal section. Composition of any point in the triangle is determined by drawing the perpendiculars from corners to the opposite side and measuring the distance of point along the perpendicular. So, from each point we are drawing the perpendicular line from each corner, and then we are calculating. Say suppose we are going to calculate for the this point. So, at point P lies on isocomposition line of 25% of A. So, in this particular case what is, why it is 25% of A? Because this is the case. So, here A is 25%, perpendicular to A 50, percentage of A in alloy is 25%. Now, B come to this. So, how we are going to calculate the percentage of B? So, that is B, and what is C? C is also the 25%. So, we are calculating, getting A percentage is 25%, B is 50 and C is the 25%. Best example is that iron chromium nickel phase diagram. So, in the isothermal reaction takes place at 650 degree centigrade for the systems. So, here the 3 pure components iron, nickel and the chromium, then varying percentage. Here is the weight percent of the nickel is varying, inside is the chromium and this side is the iron. So, from here easily we can calculate the different phases over there. Compositions of any metal at any point on phase diagram can be found by drawing perpendicular from pure metal corner to opposite side and calculating the percentage length of line at that point, and the temperature is increasing into these directions. Now, we are going to discuss about the uses of a phase diagram. Used to predict temperature at which freezing or melting begins or ends for any specific alloy compositions in a alloy system. To predict the safe temperature for hot working or maybe the heat treatments. Easily before going to start the experiment we can easily understand that what temperature we can achieve these kind of properties, or maybe the material will show different properties or maybe thermal properties or maybe the electrical properties. To determine the number of phases, types of phases and composition of phases present in any given alloy at a specific temperature. To calculate the relative amount of phases present in two phase alloy. To describe the freezing or melting of an alloy, to predict the microstructure of an alloy at a given temperature, to choose the alloy compositions to develop the best properties. Yes, but of course, there is certain limitations. What are those? Unable to indicate the time period required for the attainment of equilibrium, and equilibrium conditions are maintained only if heating or cooling is carried out at extremely slow and unpractical rates. Now, what are the applications? Generally, there are several types of industrial applications in alloy designing. Development of a basis for edge hardening aluminum alloys, material substitutions in 2 types of wrought stainless steel alloys to reduce cost. In alloy processing, alloy additions of hacksaw blade steel to allow the production of more cost effective blades. Alloy additions to a hard facing alloy that produce the superior properties. In alloy performance, estimation of lead and bismuth contaminants from extruded aluminum electric motor housings, deficiency in the amount of carbon in sinters, tungsten carbide cutting tools. So, there are several types of applications. Now, we have come to the last slide of this particular lecture. So, we have to summarize the whole lecture. So, in this particular lecture we have discussed about the phase diagrams which is a very useful tools to determine the number of types of the phases present, compositions, weight fraction of each phases at a given temperature and compositions of the system itself. Binary eutectics and binary eutectoids allow for a range of microstructures with different properties. The microstructure of an alloy depends upon its compositions, whether or not cooling rate allows for maintenance of the equilibrium. Important phase diagrams, phase transformations include eutectic, eutectoid and peritectic we have discussed in this particular lecture. Thank you.